Yeah, we'll go ahead and give it a second to let everybody jump in. So, yeah, a little unexpected today, but we'll see how it goes. So, what's going on to all those? Peace and blessings to you, Miss G. Thanks for showing up. I generally don't do like just spur of the moment live streams, but I think this one was kind of needed. So we'll see how this one goes. Dan, peace and blessings to you. Nice to see you here. We'll go ahead and, like I said, let everybody get in and just see who comes in, and we'll take it from there. Celestine, Alito to you. Many blessings. There goes brother Opie Miha. I'm Petuaste. Good seeing you, Relly. So, yeah. Thanks everybody for coming in. And like I said, we'll just let those who are filing in. So give it about another minute, and then we'll get on the topic of discussion. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Okay. Hey, Redbird, what's going on with you, brother? Good to see you here. And y'all know me. Once it starts up, I get to doing my rambling thing like I normally do. Wanagi, peace and blessings to you. I'm Petuaste Relly. We got Cootie Mail on the ones and twos again, so special thanks.
Hey, yeah, peace to everybody tuning in. Yeah, it's no problem, brother. Thanks for having me.
And if y'all could like on the way in, share, because this one I believe is going to be an important message, you know. And if you haven't subscribed, of course, go ahead and subscribe. But for today's message is about getting to know your neighbors. And Echo, peace and blessings to you. But in today's world and the society, tonight was generally going to be the UFO build, but this one kind of weighed heavy. This one is about getting to know your neighbors, who you know, and what they know. And see, Celestine Wilson got the idea. Getting to know people in your community. As survivalists and preppers, you have to know those around you. Well, you don't have to, but it makes it a little easier. Those in your community, those who are around you. Getting to know who your neighbor is very important. We're currently going through trying times in this world. And there's no doubt to that. You could talk about the pandemic, you could talk about a lot of stuff going on, but ultimately, I remember back in the day, we knew all of our neighbors. You knew everybody down the street. Everybody knew you and your parents. Everybody was pretty familiar with who you were. Knew what school you went to, and there was a community. And it seemed like people were a little more organized. Seemed like people had a good time. With the advancements in technology, even the people who live closest to us seem so far away. The ones that we used to call our neighbors and friends, and I'm speaking kind of historically, we weren't as dependent on technology as today. So when you look at who your neighbors are, how many people really know their neighbors? And I'm asking you this in the chat, you know, How many people actually have got out and talked to their neighbors, got to know them? That makes a big difference. Cootie Mail, how about you down there, man? And in Costa Rica, y'all still neighborly down there or what?
Yeah, the few remnant, neighborhoods and streets that still hold on to people that have been living there for the last, 2 or 3 generations. Yeah, they still exist out here, and in those neighborhoods, we still kind of like know each other and talk to each other, say hi and everything. We know each other's names and stuff like that. Of course, they're building new neighborhoods all the time, new gated communities all the time, and in those places, it's a lot different. Nobody really there's you don't see kids playing outside, you don't see neighbors outside. It's a lot different, but the conditioning is too.
Oh yeah, continually. The conditioning doesn't stop, Hey, Starduster, peace and blessings to you. Good to see you made it in. Yeah, as far as the communities go, the communities are so far apart, even though living so close together. That's why I was asking how many people really know their neighbor, like actually talk to their next door neighbor. Do you know your next door neighbor's name? And once again, the reason I ask this is preppers and as people who are preparing for whatever may come. Just sit down and think about that. How many people just in the chat, can I get a 1 for yes, 2 for no, as far as you knowing your neighbors? I want to see what people say. Hey, Yeshua, got to link up with you. I know that, I definitely know that Cody Mayo got your email, or do you, Cody Mayo? But what we're going to end up doing is we're going to link up. I actually had to switch up tonight due to the fact that I kind of think this was an important message for everybody. But we will still be doing a UFO joint. I got to stop putting that off.
Yeah, put my email in the chat just in case. Yeah.
There we go. See, people are starting to answer. Some people don't know their neighbors. You got Redbird, he does. Starduster knows one family member. Yeah, so if you look at it from that point in perspective, how many of us really know our neighbors and what our neighbors are capable of and their special talents and gifts? That's where this one's going tonight. This one is going into, as a prepper and a person preparing. Yeah, my bad. We might end up traveling on that subject. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see how it goes. But I was really amazed at how many people don't know their neighbors. My neighbor actually got his car worked on and spent a decent amount of money. So it was just amazing that they never knew I was a mechanic. I'm a mechanic by trade, and that's what I do. So if you just imagine that my neighbor who's lived right down the street from me for 10 years never knew I was a mechanic. It just shows how much we talk to each other. Do your neighbors know your children's names? If you have children, if not, understandable. These are all questions. I remember back in the day, I used to be terrified. If I got in trouble, my mom knew before I got home. And then everybody in the neighborhood knew what you did on the way home. And that was the way that we were raised. So community has changed. People have changed. And I don't know if it's technology based, but it seems like it's part of the plan. We talk about the plan to divide and conquer. Well, how far away from your neighbors are you? So that's divided when individuals in the community don't even know each other. People who are generally around each other don't know who each other is. Do you know your neighbor's first and last names? And this is only scary to me because I raise chickens. I got my own chickens. I get my own eggs. You know, got solar power. I do my own gardening. I try to raise my food as efficiently as possible, especially where I'm at. I do have neighbors in the general area that have gardens also. Are they as extensive? No. But do we trade and barter between each other? Yes. I have a wonderful neighbor who specializes in growing peppers. She grows, I think, like 16 different types of peppers. Everything from Thai snapdragon peppers to bell peppers, every type of chili pepper you can name. That's just her specialty. She enjoys them. So I can generally go ahead about getting peppers from her, and if she needs eggs. And then I have another neighbor who's into banking. He watches trends. Now, he doesn't do trading or stock trading. He just watches banking and he keeps an eye on trends. He knows about money in the financial system. Very good with these things. He knows about stocks, just doesn't play the stocks. Now, he also knows about cryptocurrencies, which I don't understand. Um, you never know what your neighbor knows. And the only reason I really want to emphasize on that is, like I said, as preppers and people who are going to prepare or people who need to prepare, you have to learn those around you and get to know them, because we can't do it alone. You can't just do it all by yourself, no matter how much we want to, because in this society, we've grown to become very independent. And with this independence, we feel like we can be loners. We don't need anyone else. We don't even need to know the person who is either 100 feet or 100 acres away from us. But we never really know what they are capable of or what knowledge they have. Now, Mayo, as far as your experiences, where you're at in Costa Rica, now the neighborhoods and understanding, do you guys tend to share a lot of knowledge and information, or has it become more condensed and to self?
Yeah, in general, I don't know. From my experiences traveling, I feel like it's like that. It's getting like that all over the world. Um, with the younger people and the new people coming up, buying their own houses, having their own families, all stuck with technology or with work or with their own immediate family. I mean, it's rare that you go to. I mean, there's still neighborhoods out here. You go and everybody's sharing and talking and helping each other. So I mean, right where I live is like that. So I mean, we still try to like share ideas. If anybody got any skills, we go to him for this particular thing. You know. So yeah.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And the communities suffer when people don't know each other. The communities don't get a chance to necessarily heal and get to know each other. Why this is important is because when we say we want to keep finances and forms of wealth in our neighborhoods, how can we do that if we don't know what our neighbors specialize in? So, for instance, it may seem, out of place, but I have a neighbor who does custom boots and shoes. Now, does anyone know that outside of me? Probably not, but he's been doing custom boots for many years. That's actually how he made his living. And when I say he does a phenomenal job, he uses true leather. He uses like stuff that we haven't seen. He's been doing this for about 40 years and it hasn't changed. That man can redo any type of shoe you want or build you a boot to your specifications from scratch. But if I would have never sat down and talked to him, would I have known that? So being able to just give like Cootie Mail got on the screen, a good old Heidely Ho, to your neighbor, you can learn so much about them. And that skill is really, really nice. And I'm like, man, I would like to learn to come to your shop and learn like how you do these things. I mean, the different grades of leather, he has an extensive knowledge. I mean, extensive knowledge of different types of leather, different types of sewing and stitching, and different types of needles. And he can break it down to you for hours and hours. And that is just one of his many talents. So sitting down and talking to him, I learned that, I'm not going to name any specific shoe brands, but a lot of these are junk. This man can redo and build boots that are really, really slick. Needless to say, just talking about that, it's a skill. And I asked him to build me some moccasins. And man, ordering stuff from around, these aren't cheap moccasins. Like, these are really expensive. He's ordering them from special places. And the weird part is not that expensive. It really isn't. Yeah, Yeshua, neighbor will be against neighbor. There's a lot out there. There is a lot out there. And that made me feel good. Peace, Red Wolf. Definitely nice seeing you here, Relly. Yeah, Miss G. As far as the antisocial thing, that's just part of our social climate right now. When you look into your social media, we have, and I'm not going to say anything specific, but individuals can tend to find everything they're looking for on social media. So they disconnect from the people around them in order to connect with individuals who only have their specific thoughts in mind. So therefore, we really don't have to, with social media and the internet, people don't feel like they have to go outside of their comfort zone, only because there's a whole world of like-minded individuals that are around you. So that's what's made this community so antisocial, to say the least. There's many other words I can use, but I'll use that one. It's a little piece better. But the reason we become antisocial is because we generally tend to go to people who are like us, and life interactions and things that actually happen in life, people aren't used to anymore. We no longer have interactions with each other, or just saying hi, or generally passing. And in the next few years, who knows? We may not have any form of interaction at all, the way things are going. Hey, Reginald, peace and blessings, man. Good to see you in here. Cody Mail, you got anything you'd like to add on to that?
No, I guess what is who is in your community? A lot of people say, get back to your community. Is your neighbor part of your community? Is the person next to you part of your community, or your community means something else? I guess this is how people see it, but I think it's good to know your neighbor in many ways, not just to be friendly. It's also, like you're saying, you never know who's living right next to you, what skills he has or what he's capable of. Like a new saying, or like the art of war, know your enemy, right? So I think it helps out in many different ways, right?
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does. Oh, Mr. Darkfly, brother, peace and blessings, man. Yeah, and that really does help. Being able to understand what, as far as what society currently does, and how we're having an initial divide. And like Cody Mail just said, knowing not only your friend, but knowing who is most likely to be your enemy. Now that's on a whole nother level. When you get to know your neighbors can become like relatives. I use the word family very loosely, only because different people have different experiences with family. But to me, I say relatives because those are people I can relate to. And it's a lot of small things. Hey, Zealous, what's going on? Peace and blessings. Thanks for making it. But yeah, as far as getting to know your neighbors, there's more than just the good you need to know about your neighbor. Because no one really knows who lives in their neighborhood anymore. Um and yeah, Starduster, it's all to the good. You know, we all learn one day at a time. It's just presenting certain information, and the way that information is presented to us, it's just how we learn. You know, each and every person in here, I don't know it all. Cody Mail doesn't know it all. No one in here knows it all. So coming together and being able to understand and talk and speak to each other, because everyone in here, even though we may be miles apart, states apart, or even countries apart, is still my neighbor. These are individuals who could possibly have an impact on not just um, my thoughts as an individual, but may help me in the long run. And it doesn't have to be necessarily something huge. It could be something as small as a friendly thank you or a friendly hello, how are you doing? Just the individuals being here in this stream tonight, I'm thankful for, because each person brings something to the table. Each and every person in here brings something to the table, something I do not know, something that could help someone else. So in the chat, definitely interact with each other, interact with me, because now I learned how to watch the chat now, so I can actually answer a little, better. Um, so, and that's just how we learn. So, let's continue. Okay. Now, your neighbor, the people in your community, knowing and understanding and having a plan for preparedness, that right there it's a strong thing. Oh, give a shout out, Dina Israel, peace and blessings. Future generation, peace and blessings. Yeah, but getting to know the people in your community and learning how to start a community. Some people have training in firearms. Some people are really good gardeners. Some people are herbalists, naturalists. You have individuals who are cooks, people who, can really cook. You got individuals who have different, very intricate parts of what can become a whole. Even with the plethora of information out here, there's always more we can learn. And I want to keep bringing Cody Mayo in for his output because, he's my neighbor. That's my brother right there. So also, Cody Mayo, how do you feel? I'm going to kind of specify the question. How do you feel about neighboring and the individuals in your community coming together? How do you feel about how that helps?
Well, just from experience, when just growing up in neighborhoods that were like that, it's just a greater enjoyable experience altogether, especially as children, playing outside with your neighbors, your friends and stuff growing up, your boys, whatever you want to call it, your set, whatever. And people doing, inviting each other to birthdays, even for again, Thanksgiving just passed. I remember just going house to house, you know what I mean, all day, eating, food, and the experience is a lot better, man. And you see more communication. You see actually more people coming together and creating like the neighborhood watch and all this, because they trust each other more, and they get more personal, and they can organize better and do things, as a community. That's just from my experience and everything, not just what I believe in, and when you go into these gated communities they're building all over the place, it's just like Truman Show, right? Everybody's just like, hey, hi, it's not real. Nobody talks to each other. All the houses look the same. Everybody's the same. Everybody just comes to work, goes to work, goes home, locks himself inside, and then you can't really have too many people because it's a gated community. So I don't know, I guess people like this, maybe they choose to be in a place like that. I just grew up different, so I guess I couldn't talk for everybody. But in general, for me, it's a I see it very important. What is tribing up? A lot of people say tribe up, and what does that entail? Are you ready to tribe up really with people?
And that's, once again, my brother, he said it. You know, when they say it takes a village, that is a lost saying I haven't heard in years. It takes a village to raise a child, because every individual that is around has to take part in the raising of that individual. A child may belong to their parents, but they are raised by everyone in that neighborhood when people take responsibility. Now, I'm not going to necessarily comment on the problems in today's society. What I will say is that we don't tend to look out for each other as we used to, not mentioning everyone. But it's become a shame when a person will get hurt or injured and there are more people recording it on their phone than actually trying to help. So with that same phone that people are recording to put it on World Star, they could actually be calling, calling for help, calling for an ambulance or whatever's needed. I remember the days when you could literally go to the corner store. And this isn't just my neighborhood or any specific neighborhood. There was a time when you could walk to the corner store. Yeah, okay, matter of fact, most people don't even have corner stores in their general area anymore. People actually going to the corner store, chilling. You'd walk down the street and wave at the people on their front porch getting fresh air. You'd go down the street and you'd sit there and you knew every kid in the neighborhood, whether you got along with them or you didn't. Even that kid you fought last week, you're going to fight again next week. There was a responsibility living in those neighborhoods. I remember going out and I'd fight with somebody down the street and their parents, they'd come out and watch. And literally, they would be like, all right, y'all go ahead, y'all shoot the ones. And then when it's done, y'all got to be cool because y'all still have to live in the same neighborhood. You still have to go down the street. Kai, with many blessings, man. Always great seeing you in here. And I remember sometimes you go back and fight that same kid 2-3 times. Y'all just didn't get along. But since you lived in the same neighborhood, it never got to a level of violence where an individual wouldn't make it home. And that, for me, is a big thing. Yeah, Starduster 2 made sure nobody jumped in. You jumped in, it was on the Kraken. It really was. If you was getting down one-on-one, no one called the cops on you. Nobody was getting arrested. Y'all just shot the ones. Y'all called it a day. The last one standing went home, licked your wounds, did a couple of push-ups, and you had to come back out and go shoot the fade again. This is just when I grew up. I'm not saying that is everyone's experience, but I'm just saying it seemed like when we had the neighborhoods and the individuals, and when we took responsibility and made sure that our own was safe. And when I say our own, I mean people. I'm not going for a specific race, color, or creed or anything, only because we don't have a choice in the parents we have. And sometimes we really don't have a choice in the neighborhoods we're raised in. So when we come up, we got to look out. So not to take it to going too far out, but learning to be constructive with each other. Going to the park. What happened to the recreation centers? Most of it in my area are closed. Yeah, Kiowa, it was self-governing. So, that was part of your everyday life. Now everyone is in their cell phones. Everyone is on social media. People are trying to hurt other people's feelings. this is all going to tie back in the neighbor thing. Trust me. So this isn't just a regular rant. Um, but now children, youth, even adults don't know how to talk to each other in society only because they've become so far away that if there's an aspect of your life that you don't like, you just flip to another web page or go to another. So now people don't have to handle the aspects of life they don't like. And this is real. People can say whatever they want. I'm just being honest. People don't have to look at the aspects of life that they don't like. But before the internet came out, that was part of our everyday life. Just think about that. That was part of our everyday life. Was we had to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We had to look at the sunny days and the rainy days. We had the days where you couldn't go out and play because it was snowing or storming. Now it seems like there are less and less children out playing. There are less and less adults out walking around in the neighborhoods, conversing with each other and getting to know each other. That's why I'm going back and forth and still have another question for Mayo. How is it as far as the children in the neighborhoods where you're at, my friend? Could you give a little insight on that?
Yeah, I was trying to say earlier, it's like, I believe it's like that all over the world now. It's a global thing. They pushing the technology on us, and I don't know, I guess turning us into cyborgs, since young. Children rather be on the phones and the apps and PlayStation and all that than go outside. They have no creativity. You take away the phone, you take away the computer, the TV, they don't know what to do. I remember, going out and playing for hours, and being more connected. So it seems the more technology we have, the more Wi-Fi connections, the less human connection. So I try to man, I even went for like 2 or 3 years without a phone. I just couldn't, people was like, how do you do it without a phone? I'm like, I don't know, everything's on the computer, online. I don't know, everybody's online. I don't know, it's just like try to make sure my kids are not spending too much time on it and doing creative things too, outside of that. But yeah, kids in general here are the same, man. Like, I feel like, they're just getting stuck in their phones, and being more to themselves, right?
That's the truth. Because now that's when I bring up dependence on social media. And Redbird, yeah, playing horseshoes. I remember sitting on the front porch playing dominoes. Everybody would go out there and slam bones. Street football, curveball, playing in the fire hydrants. I remember going to the rec center and playing dodgeball. Even the kids used to run around and play Red Rover, hide and go seek. Those were things where you interacted. Those were things where you got to know, where kids in the neighborhood, if a new kid moved in, there was a level of acceptance because they had to understand that now they live there. Now with the amounts of bullying and cyberbullying and all this other stuff, whatever they call it, floating around, it's literally like we don't know each other. We've come unglued. It's a shame, and I hate to say this, and no shots at anybody, but it's a shame when we can sit there and you can call your family across the country, but yet can't talk to your relative who lives right down the street from you. And I understand, because of the pandemic, quote unquote, that people have changed. And I understand it's for the good. Oh, Starduster did not just take it back to Jax. Oh my goodness. but I still listen to music that makes you feel that way. I remember, going out and all the girls would be down the street jumping rope and double dutch. Uh, oh my goodness, what's that other one? Um, there was so many different games that were played. Going out and playing basketball. Celestine, yeah, I tried to ride a skateboard a couple times, but man, I'm telling you, concrete doesn't taste good. I was never a good skateboarder. But Kiowa has a good point. We've been social distancing way before COVID ever came because we don't know how to rely. And nowadays, it seems like individuals don't want to be responsible for themselves, let alone anyone else. So when people don't like the world they live in, click on something else. And what that does is it puts people in a situation where they don't have to accept life. They don't have to accept the consequences of life or understanding because they can put themselves in another world. Oh, King of the Hill was my game. King of the Hill was my game. Duck, Duck, Goose. Mr. Fly Brother, I had a big head, so every time they would I was always bald, so they would smack the back of my head when they said goose. So I hated that game. Bald by choice, not by force. But that's the thing. Hopscotch. And I bring this back because we are taught certain forms of interaction. Now, when I bring that up, I'm literally bringing up, and I really want people to think about this. Now, as children, infants, even young children, don't necessarily see color or difference because ultimately these are things that are taught and traits that are taught to us. They're ideologies that are given to us. That's why the neighborhoods were so different. You could have many different people from many different neighborhoods or many different people living in your neighborhood. And never once did it really it never occurred to you that that wasn't your brother. I remember playing dozens, and there were so many people in your neighborhood and when you lived in that neighborhood for so long, certain individuals became family. And it just wasn't I remember after about 5 years, my dad had a friend and he's like, "Oh, that's your uncle." So we're sitting there like, "Wait, uncle? We didn't know this for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years." But because these people became relatives and people that we enjoyed, they became our uncles and we became family in that neighborhood. Oh, yes, we'll mention kickball. Kickball, boy, I was the kickball champ, man. And I played soccer too. So. Cody Mail know what's up with that one.
Yeah, no, I did the kickball too, man. I was pretty good at it because I played soccer. So I had a little cheating. That was how I used to make myself popular when I go to these schools, man. I'm like, don't worry, man. I help everybody out with the kickball.
If you could kick and run fast, man.
Yeah, man.
Kick. And that was it where, oh wow, Celestine Wilson put it out there. Monopoly, Uno, Jenga, games like that. Even though, it doesn't seem like people know how to play them off of their phone anymore. Now they've got it to the point where you can play Monopoly and literally get out there on your phone where you don't even have to interact with people. You could play Scrabble on your phone. It's good to connect with people. I don't knock technology for certain parts of what it is, but I do knock it as a way of distancing those who are close. we had a family gathering last year where we actually got out there, and some of the old heads, we was out there playing kickball. You know, my sister was out there double dutching, laughing, having a good time. You know, it was good for family to be family again. And that's where knowing your neighbors is important. You know, just being able to interact with people, know who they were, feel the vibe. That those are the moments. Those are the things that we look forward to. Remember when people used to go and say, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar?" Nowadays, we're so scared of the neighbor. If you go to ask to borrow a cup of sugar, you don't know what you don't know if the neighbor gonna get you sugar. You don't know if the neighbor gonna do what, if the sugar's old, new, yesterday's sugar, stuff they had sitting in the cupboard for 10 years. Is because of not knowing our neighbors, we have uncertainty about who they really are. Now think that's true. Y'all remember the Sandlot?
Yeah.
That's why those, yeah, that was a good movie. Sandlot was my joint. Those movies make us feel nostalgia, and they make us feel good because I don't know about y'all, but these are times that I generally wish would come back. I'm not saying get rid of all technology. I'm just saying we have to not be as dependent on technology. You know, Cody Mayo. Now, like real talk, coming up where you came up, and the feeling. Oh, Dimples Gang wanted to give you a shout out. Didn't want you to think I missed you. Oh, definitely got to give a shout out to Lewis Jones. Thank you for being here. Greatly appreciated. Jeremiah Dream, you know, thank you for showing up. Definitely. And I'll take you up on that offer. You think you a kickball guy? Let's get it. You know, we'll get it worked out.
Kickball's fun, man.
Oh yeah, I can still run two bases without losing all my breath. Maybe some of it, but you know, I may be wheezing a little hard.
Yeah. The some of the illest players were the ones that out in the bag catching the balls, man, and throwing them back.
Oh man, yeah. Hey, you remember they used to chase you down and hit you with the ball?
Yep, like dodgeball. Yeah.
Yes. It was. Those were good times.
Yeah, I used to do that in the Sarah Greenwood backyard. For anybody that knows Boston, they can know. That's a famous yard that you play kickball in.
Hey man, oh dude, I remember getting hit with the damn kickball in my back. I remember trying to duck and dodge and jump over them. If you was slick enough, you wasn't getting caught. But you always had that kid that literally could sprint and keep up with you, and that was me. I generally, yeah, you know, just playing neighborhood hide and go seek, like literally, you felt safe. You felt safe in these neighborhoods, and you knew that there were people who loved you and cared for you in those neighborhoods. Everybody knew who you were. You came up with different games and different sports. And it was how life was. Like I said, these were beautiful times. You know, so we just got to keep that going. And well, not even keep it going, bring it back. Oh, Chattahaya, peace and blessings. Thank you for coming in. And I say that to encourage people, to let people know who you are, because it's not always on the neighbor to come up and get to know us. That's the reason why so many of us have become antisocial, because we believe that it's on the other person to know us. Well, sometimes we can extend a hand, and that's really how it is. You know, getting to know the neighbors again. I hate to know that the internet has taken us this far apart from who we were, who we are now. and have turned us into a world of individuals who are completely self-serving, only because like we can block out the external world. That's not how it should be. I can't necessarily say what's great and what's good, but I can honestly say from my personal opinion, those were the times, even when we struggled together. Now everyone feels like they're alone. The lack of importance is because you don't have that group or bond now. Even if your family life wasn't the best, your neighborhood had love for you. Oh, the 12 peace and blessings, Breeze 618. Thank y'all for coming in. But the neighborhoods had a lot of love and a lot of caring and a lot of kindness, a lot of compassion. And this is just neighborhoods in general. I'm not giving any specific, I'm not going to talk about any specific neighborhoods, but that's what it was. It was about love and patience. Yeah, zealous. Literally, I remember birthday parties used to be a block party when every kid in the neighborhood came. And that's, whenever there was a birthday party in the neighborhood, everybody came down and doors were open. Doors were open for anybody who needed a warm meal, or when people cooked dinner, especially like holiday dinners, people would always make extra for those who might show up. And everybody, the whole neighborhood, even though they had individual dinners, it seemed like they had a potluck. It was crazy because everyone knew everyone. Going to the swimming pools. And that's where I bring up the whole knowing your neighbor, getting to know your neighbor, getting to know who they are. You never know what you could utilize. You never know who's trustworthy or what they can bring to the table. We're not alone in this world. There are many people who have been through many different things in life, but if we never talk to them, we don't know, so we feel alone. We go on the internet to find people who are like us in order to make us feel a certain way, but there's so many people who are right next to us who can understand our struggle. And sometimes that talk, that physical contact, being able to speak, makes such a big change in a person's life. Purimeo, how do you feel about that as far as the dynamics of being in person versus online? Give me some of your insight.
Well, I guess being a YouTuber, people put you in a always like to group you or try to picture how you are, and maybe sometimes using the videos and putting the message out. It's not the same as if I could meet in private with everybody and individually, and get their background and what their knowledge is, and have private conversations in person, because you can relate better. You can see people's feelings, emotions, body language, a lot of things. You can actually get to know someone's heart as well, maybe. It's very hard sometimes to explain things in comments or in videos, but that's just one example I'm using. It's very different to me. I think it's talking in person. You'll probably work things out more than not. When it comes to conflicts and everything, and in general, that's what big corporations and businesses do. All they do is meet in person. Even with today's technology, they make sure they try to get the video conferences going and make sure they can see each other, like if they were in the same room and everything. It just makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, even if it's not in person, 80% of 80% of conversation is actually nonverbal. It's body language. It's all the things that come with it. Exactly. You can't read a tone. So that's why we speak. And then I give much props to Cooney Mayo because he does get on Zoom with a lot of his followers. He speaks to them, he gets to know them, he answers questions. And that's the same thing I would like to start doing, you know, getting on there, getting to know those who are subscribed, answering questions, helping people prep, but not only helping people prep, maybe through this, we can build and get to know the individuals who we, you know, have become, and we can help each other. You know, Lady Jacob, peace and blessings. Good to see you made it in. But getting to know who each other is. So that's why I want to be able to utilize some of these things as far as getting to really respond and being able to help each other in times of need, um, in times of pain, in times of agony, you know, and just being able to let people know that you aren't alone. I tell people this because this is the true me. When I get on here, I don't flip and play cheerful. I'm not going to lie, I'm not the most cheerful person, but I am a very loving person. I see what I believe is the pain in nature. I believe, you know, the pain in people and how we have become disconnected, and we have to reconnect because one single person does not make up this place. We are many links and many connections, and only through that can we share our experiences in life and teach each other. That's why knowing your neighbors is so powerful, because the struggle cannot be fought when we're all torn apart. You know, so that's the beauty and the blessing that people get when they're able to communicate with each other. Community garden. The first word is community. The individuals around you, those who are in that neighborhood and in that area, those are the people who build that garden. But we are a garden. See, now I'm going to have to do a build on the analogy of life and gardening. Life and gardening are one and the same. Some people may not understand why that is so powerful, because one person working on the garden is very slow, but when you get numerous people helping out, bringing their expertise, bringing the things that are needed for that, the garden is more prone to flourishing. People bring different viewpoints, and when people start to bring in a lot of the peace that's within themselves, their knowing and their kindness, those people can help out with the garden. And just like the plants who spring up from the dirt trying to reach the sun is a place of warmth. And that's what we all need, is a place for warmth, is a place of warmth. And the place of warmth is the hearts, the people, the blessings, the things that we get every day, the smiles. That, and as we flourish and we grow older, we produce other fruit. You know, each plant has a seed in it. From that seed produces another plant. So we have to also realize that we are that plant. We are that fruit, and we produce our own fruits. By giving the seed of enlightenment or enlightening a person or sharing a life experience with a person, therefore, we're actually able to reproduce ourselves and be a shining light. And don't produce fruit that is bad. Don't produce fruit that is bitter and sour, but also understand, like any other plant, people need time to ripen and grow. They need time to become who they're going to be, to gain full maturity. And when they gain full maturity, then they can produce wonderful fruits. But they're going to have to fall. They're going to have rainy days, sunny days, cloudy days. There are going to be sometimes that plant wilts because it's lacking something it needs, just like us as people. Sometimes we lack the things we need, so we wilt or we invert. We don't show our true colors because the community, we're not very verbal anymore. We don't really get out there. We don't put ourselves out there because so many people are scared to be hurt. And it's the fact that, once again, that if you don't like it, you don't have to deal with it. That is true in many aspects of life. But when you don't have to deal with humans and people and neighbors, that ultimately pulls you from your neighbors, from the people around you, from those who can help you. Oh, my apologies, Annette Marie. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for stepping in. But we're important. And that's where it becomes a really big thing. I wish I could spread this message as far as I could. Because in this time of uncertainty and fear, community is very important. And before I get into the next topic, which is still going to be on community, I want to ask Cody Mayo, overall and in general, how do you feel about, what I've been saying for these past couple of minutes?
Yeah, man. I think it's yeah, always, man. That's why I'm here, man. I think that very important. A lot of people need to hear things like this sometimes and analyze certain things they never probably think about. And what does it take to be a community? Who is in your community? What is a community to you? And how do you feel in your neighborhood? How do you feel about your neighbors? And and do you want to do something about that? Like are you just gonna leave it like that? I mean, I don't know. I feel like you should be comfortable. The only way is to, I guess, confront things. Even me with personal things. There is this one neighbor, that has. It's like his dad was, had a grudge with my mom, and then he's just mad. I don't know what he's mad about, but hey, man, I try to talk to him, and luckily it's only one neighbor out of, like, hundreds of people that I know here, so it's all good. I mean, some people just don't want to be neighbors, and that's okay too. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make it all like a happy ever after story, but it's something you can think about. You got to be the bigger person. You should, when it comes to prepping and surviving, and like what Anu was saying in the beginning of the video, it's very important. So I guess it's up to you how you see it. My experience is I always want to be in part of the neighborhood. I always want to be in a community. I always want to have a lot of friends. That's just me.
Yeah, because we can't do it alone. We can't do it alone, and that's what we realize becoming that community. Um, it's it really just is what it is. Getting out there and teaching the younger generations, getting out there and showing them the beauty in life. But how can we show them if we're stuck in a spot where we can't really, if we don't get out and get to know our neighbors, how are they going to get out and get to know the children of the neighbors or the people around? There's a lot of man, it's so hard to say, only because when prepping, and I'm going to bring it back to prepping, when prepping and getting to know and getting to understand, getting to know your neighbors, the community, you need this. You do need certain aspects of your community. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people who don't want to be a part of that community. Know and understand that. But how can we grow if we don't? How can a garden grow if it only has one type of plant there? There's no diversity there. There's nothing. No offense, but a bouquet of roses is generally beautiful when it has a mixture. Just as plants and gardens, if a garden has the same thing, it's okay to look at, but there's nothing really special about it. But when you go to a garden that has many different smells and vegetables and fruit and different things like that, I mean, it's a big deal. It really is, because there's so much to see and so much beauty in it. Peace and blessings to Kareem, and also Creek Running Water. Thank you for showing up, definitely. But there's always a bartering system and getting to know, and our ancestors understood that. They understood the bartering system. I still practice bartering. Sometimes I'll do mechanic work for extra firewood because I prefer to heat my house with wood. Um, Gardening, just because it feels better to me personally. And there's always something or someone who has a special talent that is deep down inside of them. I said that on my last live, and I spoke about the talents that each person has and how each of us has an individuality, something that makes us special. I don't want to get, when people leave these lives, even though I do talk about prepping in the beginning, only because it is of importance. Preparation is of importance to me and to many others, but I don't want people to leave a build terrified, like, oh my goodness, the world's going to end tomorrow. No, it's not. And if it does, I'm sorry, I lied to you about that. But I don't believe it's going to end tomorrow. But we do need community, because if something big happens tomorrow, let's say, for instance, let's go worst case scenario. Well, not worst, but we'll go EMP case scenario. An electromagnetic pulse goes out over top of the city and knocks out the power. There's no phones, there's no internet, there's nothing. Who can you rely on to do certain things? As far as, do you know if there's a doctor a couple doors down who may be able to help you? What about the seamstress who knows how to sew? Who, if your clothes are torn, she can help sew everything up. What about the person down the street who knows how to make bread from scratch? Or the person who can help you out with, as far as helping and working on the house? And I say what about these things only because we don't get to know our neighbor. And when you don't get to know your neighbor, you don't trust your neighbor. And nothing is worse than being paranoid all the time. So it's better to get in there and check out and kind of see. But do understand that not everybody is meant to click. And there is people who we will have disagreements with. You will have disagreements with your neighbors. You will have disagreements over certain aspects, but this is natural. Not everyone is supposed to agree with every aspect of your life. But now, since we can only, well, this is on social media. Now on social media, individuals can go to what specifically relates to them. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, I don't have to care about the rest of the world because my world is right here. I don't have to deal with what other people don't agree with me on, because fundamentally, that's what makes us diverse. That's what changes us and allows us, if we have a disagreement, we can sit down and speak about it. And this is just, I don't mean to get into this, but I'm gonna hit a touchy subject. And this is no offense to anybody, but that's why a lot of these kids out here don't know how to fight anymore, and they're so quick to shoot. Because now it's their own world, and if you offend them, they no longer know how to take take criticism anymore. They no longer know how to take their butt whooping anymore. So they're so quick to go out and they want to hurt you and embarrass you and they want to break you down. When you've been whooped in front of your friends, or when you get a butt whooping, or when you know your community and you know what's going to happen to you, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but my belief is you are less likely to do something very violent to somebody. You know, so going out there and shooting the ones or pulling a trigger, but it's true. To me, it is. And you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I'm not asking you to, but in the same sense, I just want people to think it through. Everyone wants to pull a pistol now because they don't like what a person says. They don't like another individual or somebody's gotten at them over social media. When there was once a time when you had to sit down and discuss, and you had to sit down and talk about it. You had to sit down and actually sit and talk to somebody. And that's the truth. You actually had to even come to a conclusion, even if you agreed to disagree. It didn't take a person's life. And that is why community needs to be one of the things, not only as preppers, but as a point in our life, a determining point in our life. And I'm here to tell you that everybody is somebody's baby. Everybody is somebody's brother or sister, or mother or cousin, uncle or nephew. Everybody is someone to at least one person. And that one person shouldn't have to feel pain for the loss based off of unnatural causes or because somebody didn't like what someone said. We need to really sit down and heal as a nation of people. You know, and I understand not everyone's going to agree and different people have viewpoints. But the violence is getting out of hand, and it all ties back in my mind to community, to those in the community, to individuals not knowing each other and not understanding the repercussions. You know, oh, Bertha Brooks, peace and blessings, 2 Glocks, definitely. Those whoopings kept a lot of us out of prison. Some of us not so much, but you know, everybody got to get their lumps. But that's true. That really is true. So ultimately, I come at I come at community from a prepper standpoint, but not just that. I come at it from a standpoint of being able to tell people about community and understanding that diversity, it does help who you are, learn who you are, show who you are. And with these forms of diversity in the garden, can we grow together? There are companion plants. There are plants that protect other plants. It may seem crazy, but if you plant certain plants beside each other, they will help keep away predators, like planting peppers on the perimeter of your garden. Certain things won't cross those pepper lines. It's crazy. You know, Hootie Mayo, I know I've been running. Can I get some insight? How do you feel as far as um, do you believe or do you think that there is some aspect of the fact that community is no longer together that pushes a very highly violent narrative in today's society?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when it's you make millions off an image of being murderous, you know, dealing things that hurt the community, just gathering money, large sums of money, and you're cool. And then unfortunately, some of the fastest money to get is doing illegal things. So I mean, that's what a lot of people follow, man. A lot of people, sometimes you get temptations, especially when you're dealing with oppression and poverty and everything, and then you got access to quick money. You might make the wrong decision based on what there is being promoted all the times to the youth, to the people, what is being marketed on TV, music videos, television, the programming. They don't show communities coming together. They don't talk about good things in the news. They always want to talk about the negative stuff, have you thinking about the negative stuff, the material stuff, you know. Um, so yeah, that's my personal opinion on it. I don't know if I answered you.
No, you
What,
definitely did.
what was the original question again?
Nah, basically how the lack of community has created how the lack of community has actually created what right now is considered all the violence. Um oh man, we're about to get on a touchy subject now that I brought that up, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's be honest with ourselves and externally. Things like violence, Cody Mail mentioned it, violence, these record sales, TV, music, movies, media, violence, drugs, sex sells. And they bank on that. But do we really believe that a lot of these college educated rappers actually live the lifestyle that they speak of, the same one that they sell to those in our neighborhoods, to the kids who grow up listening to it, the radio stations that continually play it? And don't get me wrong here, I'm not putting all the blame on the individuals who make the music. But to be honest with you, community kept a lot of us out of trouble in understanding that those were just lyrics. But at the same time, we became corrupted over time, basing the movies, the music, in stereotyping individuals. So when we watch these things, we believe that is the epitome of what we are supposed to be. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be rough. We're supposed to, be shooters, because that is what is put out, and that is what is glorified and popularized to our children, to us as children and growing up. This is what's actually made people millions. But do they understand exchanging that blood for money? While there are people out here who take it too seriously, and like I said, it is on everyone, because individuals in the industry, they tell a story. They're just like movie creators. They create a movie, they create a story and a scenario, and they're putting it out there. So, but it is up to us as community, family, friends, to let the younger generation know, listen, this is nothing but a movie. These individuals don't do this in real life. Nobody goes out and racks up 50 bodies and raps about it. And if they do, I don't even know what to say on that note. But that's another way that lack of community does affect us. So being able to really sit down and understand and talk to the children, and man, oh man, whoop they butts when they act up. Man, a butt whooping taught you humility. A butt whooping taught you to be humble. If you wasn't humble and you got out of line with your mother, grandmother, or any of the above, they put their hands on you. And when they put them hands on you, I'm telling you, I remember, I swear, I used to feel a butt whooping coming from around the block when I got in trouble. I don't even know where it came from. Y'all ever had, and y'all about to laugh at me, and I know everybody watch, I'm gonna see a lot of laughing. Y'all ever had that whooping that you expected so much that you started crying before you even got home? Like, you got there and you almost couldn't breathe. You just like, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Like, in between the words, you literally, you knew you was about to get smacked up. You walk in the door, I'm sorry, snot all down your nose.
I won't do it again.
I won't do it again, I promise. Yeah, that's what these kids need in this generation. That's what, my bad. I know I changed the subject quick, but yeah, I know y'all remember them. Y'all remember the one you be snotting, you ain't even want to go home. I'm gonna run away. I ain't even going home. Be the only kid who can't get. I thought you was gonna run away. I can't cross the street. So you stuck walking laps. Yes. When you shook and trembled, when you was like literally, I remember I got in trouble so much. I was like, you know what? He ain't beating me to the light, to the street lights come on. That's when I go home. So if I knew that I was gonna get my butt beat, I just waited till like, you know what? I'm gonna play until it's time for me to go home. I'm gonna take this L. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm going to bed. I don't want time to think about the L I just took. And that's in. Oh my goodness. I gotta show. Yeah, thank you for showing that comment, Jeremiah. That's the truth. Yes, when you had to go pick out your own switch. Oh my goodness. Go pick your switch. Oh, and don't be that one thinking you thick. Like you don't be thick-headed. You go out there and you pick that skinny switch thinking it ain't gonna hurt, and that thing will whoop you and wrap around your body 3 times. And you wondering what happened. And then I hated when we lived in the neighborhood so long that they be like, if you catch my kid doing something bad, whoop them. So now you get by 3 different people till you make it home. Cootie Mayo, tell me you got them.
Yeah. Your mom couldn't find out. Well, my mom couldn't find out if somebody whooped me because she'd be embarrassed. And, you know, she had given them permission already. So
yeah, that's what I didn't get. Oh, Annette Marie said no whoopings. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see. Taiwan Bright. H to 1. I was about to butcher that one. But that was one of them things where but that was part of life. You know, that's what I want. You know, Starduster, I'm happy I'm taking you back. I'm taking a lot of people back because this era, from a psychological standpoint, I want people to go back and I want you to think of those times and how much better they were. Because those times might be coming back. Prepare for them. Because in the economic collapse, I commit people in a joking manner. And that's the best way for me to do it. I come at people in a joking manner only because it makes people think and feel comfortable. I don't want to scare you. I want you to leave here feeling good. As soon as I leave here, I'm jumping on Call of Duty and killing zombies. But that's just my thing. But I don't ever want anybody to sit back and feel like when you leave this live, or when you leave one of the lives that I put on, I don't want you to feel some kind of way. I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel like you're beat down or listening to me actually took more out of you. I want you to smile. I want you to laugh. I want you to feel good about yourself. Don't leave here depressed. Leave here feeling good. And if I could go on here for hours, I would. But I really can't. Honestly, I'm one of those people who got like yeah, it's so sitting still for too long just gets me. And I know y'all still laughing at me, but you know, Putty Mayo, how do you like asking you as far as like the feeling and the vibes that you get from you know being on the live and doing your own lives, and what is your goal outside of course you teach a lot, you teach a whole lot when you're out there, you break it down. So what is your goal and how do you think people should feel, or how do you try to make people feel for when you do a live?
Okay, so I guess when I do my premieres and stuff, I try not to go live too much because I just like to have everything just organize and record it. I don't know. That's just how I am. But yeah, when I go live, I just like the vibe. You know, even when I'm premiering in the chat, and just, you know, what I want to make sure is that people see that, you know, I'm just, you know, putting things together that anybody could have found any information. You know, there's sources, there's way to investigate, or there's things to find out that we might have not known if we don't actually do some research. I try to be as real as I can, and you know, I'm not always perfect because you know, we're human. Nobody's perfect, or whatever they want to call themselves. You know, deities or whatever. But you know, I think that like what I'm seeing here in the screen, like self control. You know, you gotta have self control. I have the willpower, even with people getting upset with the information or trolling. I try to balance my life. You know what I mean? And I try to help people maybe balance their life, maybe remain calm, be determined to find out who they are or the truth, or, you know, and have the confidence. Don't let people tell you who you are, you know, and especially when you know who you are, you know. I don't know. I just, in general, I just felt like, I can, I mean, I've been doing this a lot for a long time. I do my personal research throughout my years and got pretty good at it. And I do videos, you know, outside of that, video production. So I just like joined my two talents, you know, one of my two talents, and you know, just start doing the video thing because I felt like it was an important message, and I felt like if people really understood what I was researching, what others was researching and putting together, and what we were really finding out. So I wanted to show people this ain't now just somebody speaking and on a podium and just talking and talking for hours and indoctrinating you with the same old information, same old doctrine. You know, like there's agendas behind all this. It's just like always conveniently leaving out a large amount of information. It'd be everything's kind of always one sided, depending who's telling it. Everybody's kind of being biased depending on their narrative. Want to make sure that their stories, their research fits into their narratives. It doesn't even matter if it strays away from truth, because it's their truth. And I just wanted to show people that there's other truths, there's other ways to research. We don't need academia telling us, you know. We gotta, you know, there's primary sources, there's oral history, there's your genealogy, there's understanding history in general. I thought was important because knowing where you're from, right, you can know where you're going. Um, you know, especially when it's closer to home and even part of your story. Everything they've been teaching us that was exterior or outer, it's actually part of you, and a lot of you. So, you know, I thought it was very important. I guess. Hope that answers you.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. It puts it out there. And yeah, yes, well, we will be getting that knocked out. I apologize. It's just something spoke to me today and was just like, hey, with the things that are going on and everything in the events in the world, we really got to get on being neighborly and not forget, you know, community. Um, like I said, I don't attempt to hop on and generally fear monger. And a lot of people may say that about prepper channels. There are many prepper channels out there. There are some phenomenal ones. But my tactic isn't to use fear. My tactic is to make you realize and to train you by using happiness and love and peace. You know, so that's my thing. Because if you feel good about something, you're more prone to, you know, take things in. You're more prone to relax and take the information in when it just hasn't completely shocked you. Or I don't just hop out there and be like, well, North Korea is working on an EMP and they're about to do A, B, C, D, and E, and there's a possibility that the world could end tomorrow. So working on fear doesn't always work. So that's why I try my builds where we get a good laugh. You know, we get to feel good at the end of this, and it makes you think in happiness. It makes you think about time. So if something does happen tomorrow, most high forbid it will, but being able to look back and say, you know what, we was a community back in the 70s and the 80s. I love these times. So now mentally you're preparing for the worst and being able to create that community that may need to come back. I can't teach you out of fear. A scared dog will bite you. So, out of love and respect and peace, that's how I want people to come to this channel and look at the aspects of the different things that I speak on and I say. So, if anyone ever thinks I promote fear when I talk about prepping, please don't think I do. Please don't. That is not my intentions whatsoever. I just really want people to look at prepping not only as a way of life, but as a way of comfort and community and, feeling really good. So for me, that is huge. That is huge to be able to do that. So when people come here, Hootie Mail's on the 1 and 2s, he doing the music, much respect, I'm telling you. Also, I do want to give a special thanks to those who donated. I will be doing product reviews this week on the things that I bought. The survival shovel, survival flashlight. The 35-in-1 kit might take a little bit of time to go through. Solar powered crank radios. I grabbed them. One is digital, one is analog. So anyone who donated and hit the Cash App, thank you so very much. I will be doing recommendations on things people should buy. And hopefully, if I can find certain coupons on things or something to make it cheaper, I will definitely try to get those posted out there, just because I'm trying to save y'all some money too. Because let's be honest, just because you prepping don't mean you can't be frugal, so. And as far as like, Cootie Mail's been on the prepping thing and he's been learning a lot. Cootie Mail, you mind if I ask you on your experiences with just prepping in general?
For me in general, the biggest thing is peace of mind. At least I don't know, even if it ends up helping or not. At least you'd be prepared to be able to face most things. Because I still rely on a greater power always. But I think that it's almost like the Noah story, right? Like, all right, well, I told you to build a ship. If he didn't build a ship, they would have drowned, right? I mean, we don't take everything so literal, but there's always metaphors into everything. And sometimes we're blessed with certain things and we don't even know it and we don't take advantage of it. So even, hey, if a news doing prepping videos and helping you with the information, I think you guys should definitely listen. For me, it's been very helpful. Always wanted to prep. Never really had the finance to be able to do it in general, but I thought I didn't. But like he's saying, you can do it little by little. And the more off grid you go, the more prepared you are. You'll see how easier it is to live off simple things. And it doesn't mean you don't have to live in a comfortable way either. Just like your ancestors did back in the day when there was no technology. They didn't all live uncomfortable and freezing or anything like that. They were living good. They didn't. A lot of the things we have is things we don't really need. We just want it. We don't really think about the things that we actually need. We don't spend our money with things that we actually might be useful to us. So it's helped me think about certain things that I should get, just to have. It's also going to help me, I think, eventually in the long run financially if I go solar, with electricity and everything. Now I got chickens. Thanks to Anu, I got chickens and everything. Helped me out with which ones to get and how to build it best, and just overall inspiration just from seeing him having chickens, in reality. So what's that gonna mean? I'm gonna have for sure eggs and food in case anything ever happens. Trying to grow my own food, vegetables, fruits. I don't know. Just be prepared in every way. I think it's very important, especially if you're talking about tribing up and being like your ancestors, because it's going almost, like going back to nature, back to being original, back to living self-sufficient, not dependent on a corporation or a government or a social welfare for everything, because that can go in any moment. You know, that nothing lasts forever. The most certain thing is change. That is the most certain thing in this life. I see. So I think that it's been a good run, but I'm for one. I've had enough of living in this dirty society and this fakeness, and I'm ready. I've been ready. I mean, I was born ready to move. Move past this, and I guess some of us in here, we're part of this. We're part of as a collective whole, as a community. We're part of this big change. It's and nothing happens as coincidences. I believe so. Prepping is definitely something I was always going to do, and something that I need to do. Very important to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you said, there are different things that give us aspects of prepping in nature. If you look at certain animals, there's nothing wrong with preparing, even if it may not happen. Keep your fingers crossed. But if it does, it's always nice to know about prepping. Because even animals, for instance, the bear eats and puts on numerous pounds of fat before it hibernates. What would happen if it didn't prepare for winter? It would starve during its sleep and die or have to come out at uncomfortable times. You know, then you look into the squirrel. You look into different animals and how they prepare for certain seasons. Certain birds fly away and they fly south. Certain, animals go to warmer regions. The buffalo migrate to different regions. Certain things are made specifically for certain purposes. You can tell when a storm is coming, a hurricane. You can tell when anything's about to come up if you pay close attention to nature around you. The animals know way before we ever do about what's coming because they're still in tune with the earth, where we've gotten tuned with the weatherman or tuned in to channel 10, 8, 6, or whatever your news station is. So we've gotten to the point where we are quicker to listen to the news for our forecast when our ancestors, regardless of where you from, your ancestors used to be able to know what was coming by feeling the wind, the air, watching the animals, looking at the moon, watching how the tide rose and fell. There were so many different ways that we knew what something was. Before all the technology came to be, we knew we knew these things. We knew the signs. We've just come far from that because of how relaxed we've got. And the fact that once again we've become completely dependent on someone else to do it for us. For instance, the weather, well, we wait for the weatherman to tell. Because if you can have somebody do it for you, it's generally easier. And that's the thought process of today's world, you know, and that's the truth. Well, that's the truth that I see. I'll put it that way. I can't speak for anyone else. But yeah, we're gonna learn again only because um Annette, us learning again, it has to happen. And this is for everyone in the chat. And because this is not a sustainable system. It's not. The currently we have enough room and space where there should be no hungry or homeless person. Not just the food that's wasted and thrown away, but the food that we can grow in our yards. But because we want these beautiful lawns and we also want because we want these beautiful lawns and we want this beautiful grass, we don't make food for us. What better purpose for your yard than to feed anyone who comes along? Oh, Natalie Sharp, thank you. Peace and blessings. It's always good to see you. And once again, thank you. Um, yeah, it's being able to put these together. And just like, okay, Cootie Mail got a picture up there right now that shows a garden. And if you look at it, the garden has different plants, different purposes. Like I said, we're like a garden. So being able to really push that out there and unlearn what we know now. And Starduster said it, unlearn to relearn the truth. We have to unlearn the lies that are placed in front of our eyes and then relearn the truth, because there is a fundamental truth. And not to get biblical or anything, I'm not going to go there, but the fundamental truth is you are born, you live, you pass on. But in this life, you take one heck of a ride. So learn to love it and make your generation better for others. Yes, Jeremiah Dream, I'm very familiar with aeroponics, tower gardens. I'm a very, very, uh, I'm very big on aquaponics, being able to raise fish and food together. There's so much that can be learned. You know, we're definitely going to have to get on that. Like, got to do a build just on gardening. Actually, I could really jump into just doing builds on gardens, you know, but that's a lot of fun. You know, for me, it's a lot of fun. And being able to teach the younger generations about air pruning, gardening, better ways to garden, aerating the soil, amending the soil. There's so many different parts to gardening that it's like, it's literally never ending, never ending. G West, peace and blessings. Thank you for making it. Um, yeah, Quiddy Mail, and I know you got your garden going, man. How was tell the people about your experiences with the garden. Like, how do you feel in the garden, and what does it do for you overall?
Man, for me, it helps me just disconnect from all the stress and all the anything that might cause me anxiety or anything like that. I love going into my garden, seeing everything growing, adding to my greenhouse. I'm still, it's under construction still. It's a big project I'm doing on my own and mostly, and I'm loving it. I get ideas to how I want to grow things, like looking at things like this, what we're looking at right now. I get ideas, do the same. um, for example, using a gutter, a rain gutter from the roof, and as a where I can plant, leafy greens and all that, lettuces and things like that. Just getting a lot of ideas is fun for me. It's fun, and when I have, when I'm able to grab, like every morning, we started away actually fruit trees way before I started doing actual gardens of vegetables. We had the fruit trees going, and now we got trees that have been as old as 7 8 years. They give a lot of fruit. I got tangerines, lemons, avocados, the chuvia, what I showed in my video the other day. Every morning I go and I just eat a lot of fruits. Just different, there's different fruits, so there's seasonal, so every season throughout the year I have different kinds of fruits I can eat, you know but most of the time, because of the weather here, it flowers most of the year, more than once. So I mean, I love it. For me, being in the nature and growing my own food, uh, you know, and hopefully eventually getting to the point where I don't have to go to the supermarket for any vegetable or fruit. That'll be awesome. I don't know if I can grow all the fruits, but maybe a good amount of vegetables I can grow on my own, and herbs, medicinal herbs, all that.
Oh man, and that's the thing. It becomes a therapy for you. It feels like those plants take away the negative energy and just make you feel good. Being able to get out there and experience nature and peace, and but that'll just take me into a whole nother rant. Um, it's really nice, and the way they can be used. The pictures he's showing right now, things that are repurposed in order to make a garden beautiful. You know, yeah, actually, Red Wolf, I'm familiar with permaculture too. I've been studying different ways and learning uh, the most beneficial ways to garden with the least amount of space. Only because of prepping, uh, I feel like we should know different things, like right there, square foot gardening, learning how to square foot garden, permaculture, um, once again, air pruning. uh, being able to graft, learning how to graft from one plant to the other. Those things are very important, even when prepping, and that's why I tell people start a garden. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. If the just in time system does collapse, at least you'll have food. You'll have a couple things. Grab some seeds. Opie Mihai was talking about getting the seed trade started, where you can get seeds from different areas.
Yep.
Seeds are selling out. If you go on certain sites right now, I'll give you a heads up. If you go on certain sites right now and like type in the survival gardens, a lot of them are selling out. We're in a time right now with so much uncertainty, and not to scare anybody, but we have a lot of uncertainty. And outside of that, we've lost, not all of us, but there are many people who have lost faith. And not just faith in a creator, but faith in humanity. So that's why getting started, pushing it out there, going hard in the paint as hard as you can, because I believe no person should starve. I believe that there's enough with all these yards and everything else. There shouldn't be a single person starving around the world. I'm not saying just in this country, around the world. If everyone taught, reach one, teach one, and learn how to utilize, plant, show people how to understanding and really being able to communicate with one another, because my neighbors aren't just the people in my neighborhood. My neighbors are many people around. And as Kurimeo is showing, he got me hip to that book, The Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, 550 Herbs and Remedies for Common Ailments. Slick book. The quicker you don't have to rely on your doctors, and I'm no physician, and nothing I say is supposed to be taken for medical treatment. I don't provide any of that stuff. I just tell people, look into herbs. Every medicine is made from some form of plant or herb. If you can find the root of it, then ultimately you can take that instead of the synthetic versions of these things. Once again, I am not a dietitian. This is not medical advice. So that's kind of my statement, and I'm going to make sure that I, put my own disclaimer on there. So, Legendary Top Cats, man, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up, my brother. But collectively, we will continue to build. We will continue to push. We will continue to grow. So when I come on here, like I said, I don't fight for one specific person. I fight because there shouldn't be a hungry child or a hungry adult. There shouldn't be a homeless person out here. It's the financial system that makes us completely and utterly dependent. So therefore, that is what destroys us as a people, is the financial system. Eventually, all good things, supposed good things, come to an end, like that financial system will. So learn your neighbors, learn your relatives, learn the people around you, learn those who are important to you. Reach out and be sure to let your family know you love them. Because ultimately, we could fight for many different causes. But the thing is, it's hard to fight when there's no food in your stomach. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I'm sizzling. Get to know your neighbors, get to know their strong points, get to know, and only by discussion can we learn and grow and come to points and get, and agree or disagree or agree to disagree. And that's just how it is. So I just keep telling people, fight the good fight, keep pushing. Those who are out here who got channels, do what you do. Be sure to subscribe to all these brothers with channels. Actually, Top Cats, hold on, got something for you real quick, my friend. Okay, there you go, sir. Had to go ahead and toss you a wrench, my brother. And there's a lot of good people out here, man. I'm real thankful for everyone who shows up. I'm always thankful when people come through and they learn and they don't, you know, I'm not gonna say I got the most peaceful chat, but I think we got the most peaceful chat. I ain't gonna lie. So, I want to thank y'all, and definitely, if you want to donate, of course, if you look up at the top, that's my Cash App. You don't have to, but like I said, I will be doing reviews on the things I've got. I definitely want to thank those who donated. I have bought prepper gear. I will definitely be putting it out there because these are things that I would recommend people to have. So actually, here, let me go ahead. And what I got to do is I got to get them out there. So, definitely thank you to everybody who showed up tonight. I hope that me and Cootie Mail were able to encourage you. I hope that each person was able to, feel happy and experience some of that feeling that you felt as a child and understanding. And let's bring this community back. Let's bring back the community of people who understand and who help and take care. Let's bring back the love in the community and the peace. Get to know your neighbors. Even if y'all could do me a favor, like I said, if you can't donate, I want you to donate 2 minutes of your time. And I want you to get to know your neighbor or just say hi to your neighbor. That is a great donation. And just a special way of thanking people. Everyone in here is a blessing. So with that, Cootie Mayor, you got anything you want to say before we go ahead and end this?
Yeah, no, just thanks for having me, and appreciate everybody tuning in to a news channel and being here, supporting. I think it's very important. All the messages, whatever it is, even when it's the fun ones, when we're talking about goals, and even these ones, these are very important. Because there's gonna come a time when you're gonna be, oh yeah, I'm glad I heard that day. So yeah, take advantage. And yeah, peace to everybody in the chat. Much love and respect. And more love, less hate, man. And that's it.
Oh man, great. Thank you for being here. I would like to thank everybody who stepped in, everybody who came to chill. I know it turned out a little longer than I thought. I just enjoy the vibe. I enjoy the vibe that everybody brings to the chat. I enjoy how peaceful it is. And I want to thank everybody for the interactions and being able to, type in where people can communicate and feel each other. That is a very big part. So just by starting and thanking, all those who are here, like I said, you're all a blessing, and I won't tell anybody any different. So let's be the blessing to this world, and let's make this world a better place. Let's get out there and push. And maybe we can make that utopia or that reality that is beautiful. So remember, get out, see your neighbors, meet your neighbors, talk to those around you. Let's get back to those pre-internet communities. It doesn't mean we have to give up the internet, but let's get back to those communities where there was love in the community and there was an energy and a vibration that just made the community a wonderful place. Let's get rid of that dead feeling. Even if you have to, and I will tell people social distance, because I'm not going to be responsible for telling people not to, but you can talk to your neighbor from 6 feet and get to know them, So just get out there and talk to those, but be very safe about it. Be safe about it. Practice social distancing, practice those things, but understand that everybody is someone's mother, brother, sister, daughter, neighbor, all these things, grandmother. As we would like to be treated and we would like to have our family treated, please do that onto others. Treat people how you would like to be treated. and love thy neighbor as you would love thyself. A lot of people slip up on that. But without our neighbors, we're not a community, and one person can't do it alone. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and let the song play out. I want to tell everybody thank you. You know, I cherish each person here. Much love to everybody. And I could thank y'all. I could keep thanking y'all. Y'all don't understand. I thank y'all for being here. And how many people, before we go, I want to know, give me a 1 if you feel like you left this build happier than when you first walked in, or if you learned something. Just give me a 1. I know it's got a delay time, so of course, but yeah. Throw them 1s up. Let me see what you got. Oh. And if it took back, and if it took you back and brought some memories. If it took you back and you felt some good memories, throw a 1 in that chat also. Oh, definitely. Starduster, thank you. Everybody share this video, put it out there, spread positive vibes, man, because this has got to be love, you know. But once again, I want to thank everybody. I can't thank everybody enough, and I'm so happy to see all those 1s lining the screen. It just lets me know that y'all feel the vibe that I'm putting out. You know, Cootie Mail coming up here, we putting it out. You guys are a blessing. So once again, my review videos may not be good because I don't know how to do reviews, but I'll be honest about the product. I'll let you know what I think, whether you should buy it or not, because I'm not going to let nobody in this chat waste their money on something I believe is junk or I wouldn't buy myself. So just a heads up.
Yeah. Just want to say, since we're ending with this beat, much love and respect to Maniacs Beats for the beat. Dope instrumental.
Oh yeah, thank you, Maniacs Beats. Definitely got to give a shout out, and a shout out to everybody else. So like I said, we're gonna let this one ride out and we're gonna end. But I want everybody to leave feeling good, push all that stress away.